ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the What You Say Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, the King Tuts of the What You Say Anime podcast will be reviewing the 2024 Donghua Link Click, the Bridon Arc. Let's meet today's time-traveling possessed vessels. First up, if you look closely in episode 6, you can find him disgruntled by the long line for his milk tea. We got Jay. Jay, how's it going?
Pretty good. The queue was just terrible. And, you know, I'm not really a fan of the tube or aluminium either.
The service was quite poor this time around. Next up, he was originally recruited by Xiaoshi, but his lack of basketball skills led him to talk to Lu Guang instead. We got Kat. Kat, how's it going?
Man, I'm doing great. I love bonding with other people over my lack of skill with basketball. Gets really weird when people start getting racy about it.
Agreed. It is weird, especially that one dude in episode 6. Our first moderator of the night, he said nah to going 88 miles per hour, so he drove 60 in the right lane instead and ended up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We got Miles. Miles, how's it going?
It's going well. One time I got pulled over for doing the speed limit because the cop behind me was like, bro, what are you doing? So
were you in the left lane?
I was about to ask, are you in the left lane or not?
Yeah, so I had just gotten my license and I was passing someone, but then the cop came behind me and I was like too afraid to do anything because that is who I am as a human. But some amount of gigawatts.
Hell yeah. I just want to say this is now the third time I've used that exact same intro and nobody caught on. Oh, and Pat, by the way.
This is only the second time I would have heard it.
Correct.
Yeah, Miles, you deserve that ticket. I'm sorry to say. I'm glad you learned to not sit in the left lane, though. All right, good. You learned the lesson without needing a ticket. Even better. Good.
I learned.
Let me speed in peace. Terrible way to start the episode. But yeah, we watched Link Click, Bridon Arc, or the combination of Britain and London and whatever that place is that they made up, done by Studio CMC Media, which is the other, I believe, based in China, correct? This is a technically not manhwa. That's the written version. What is it called?
Donghua.
Donghua. Thank you. A donghua with genre of drama, themes of adult cast, superpower, and time travel. So guys, I guess, how do we do first impressions around this? Do we just talk about the vibes of this season compared to the others, maybe the first episode or so? Because it is a relatively short season that we have here. It's only around like 8 episodes in length total in terms of total runtime. So maybe we do that. Yeah, just the first episode that was like a 3-episode combined into one kind of thing. Miles, what did you think?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I hadn't watched the second season. So I, luckily enough, I count the voting. So I sort of saw this having the potential to win. So I started watching the second season like before this had won, but I finished it up like last week and then finished this up as this week. So I'm sort of still digesting both seasons. Season 2, I thought was okay. I didn't like either of these as much as season 1. I think that season 2 and season 3 in some way are opposite. So for season 3, to be a little bit more specific, this is a bit of a return to a more episodic nature than season 2 was. There are definitely still some overarching plot lines in season 3. There's actually kind of like layers of them, but they don't ever go super far. It sort of seems like the more overarching plot lines are set up for whatever we're going to get next. So I enjoyed the episodic nature of season 3. I think that is beneficial for Link Click, though I must say some of the more intricate stuff that they're setting up, because of the nature of how they release this, I think I felt a little wanting on, and that could of course be remedied whenever season 3 comes out, but that's probably my first impression. Would I recommend this? Yeah. So if I don't know, if you're this far, right, if you've seen and liked Link Click episode or season 1, you will also like 3. Is my thought. So, at this point we know what we're getting into and we got more of it and I enjoyed it. So.
Makes sense. All right, Kat, what about you?
Yeah. So I it did feel a little bit more episodic, which after last season, felt a little bit more definitely change in energy, and also like I guess one of the weird thoughts that I had before we started was this would be the Endless Eight if it was good. Uh, but yeah, I'd probably recommend it.
Okay. All right. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I'll just start off by saying, like, I agree with Miles' sentiment that if you're this far along already, yeah, just go ahead and watch it. It's like 6 episodes or whatever. Comes out to like a 4-hour runtime or something with the like double length first episode. And that's not to say I have really too much negative to say about this, but I definitely agree that it did leave me a bit wanting compared to the other seasons, and that's just due to it being like only 6 episodes. I feel like so much of this was set up for the next season, like introducing big name players with big flashy designs in this. Like you can very obviously tell who's actually going to affect the plot in a show like this based on how much they obviously paid somebody to over design them for some of them. And like it just ends on this crazy cliffhanger kind of like in a way where our character, like we're kind of stuck wondering, well, where do we go from here? Like we're kind of fucked in a lot of ways. What happens next? And I don't know. It felt like it's something that should have been like a JJK Zero type movie rather than a 6-episode series for me. And I know I'm complaining about not having a lot of content, and that maybe sounds like I'm contradicting myself there. But I think if the plot only advances this much for an arc that seems like it's very important to the overall plot, then I think condensing it down into a movie is like a fine play rather than having a 4-hour long series. That's all I'm saying. So in conclusion, yeah, I would recommend it. Like we're 3 seasons in. Like I think that if you like Link Click, yeah, you're gonna like this as well. And if you haven't watched it, go watch Link Click. That shit's good.
Yep, sorry. I agree with you though entirely that this definitely, it feels like they couldn't decide whether to commit to making it movie length or fleshing it out more. It's in this weird like why is my brain blanking?
It's like a limbo of some sort.
Limbo, that's the word. Yeah, thank you. It's in limbo, somewhere in between. That just doesn't quite work too well, at least in my opinion as well. So, Pete, what about you?
Yeah, I want to touch on that more of like the tone, because something along the lines of like season 1 and season 2 of Link Click, why it works so well in like episodic forms is the mystery behind it left a lot of great like cliffhangers with the ending of each episode. While this one, I didn't feel like it had that as much, where I feel like if they condensed this into a movie format, it would have been, I feel like, flowed way better with it. And that sort of matched the tone with like the first episodes, because coming off the back of season 2, we had like this domestic abuse arc. We had people that we grew close to getting killed, and setting up this arc of sort of going back in time to save Xiaoshi. And the tone kind of, I felt, shifted a little back into a little bit more comfy, where I wasn't really expecting that with Link Click. Like I was expecting, I mean, like don't get me wrong, it makes sense in terms of the story, but sort of like how it was progressing from season 2 into this felt a little off to me. I don't think I could dive into this season as much as I would have liked to until the end, which we'll talk about, because I think it's set up perfectly for where it's going to go. But like first impressions, I was kind of disappointed. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was kind of like snooze fest. I started this season before we did the watch club, and I like paused it at episode 2, because like we've done season 1 and 2 for watch club. I thought it'd be perfect and for this type of format, but like it just didn't hit the same. But I think it has a real strong possibility of, when we get the next couple cores of content, that this could mean a lot more. So my recommendation is, don't watch this until the next part comes out. I think that this will hit way harder and way better when you can dive right into the next spot, because right now we're kind of left I'm gonna steal my own word that I gave to Pat. We're stuck in like a limbo that I don't like being in. So I would still recommend it, but like I would wait.
You're welcome for giving you that word, right?
Thanks, Pat. You always got my back.
Yeah, wink, wink. I agree, like as well with you that there were some tone moments that were that, like you said, like Link Click definitely started out with that little bit of silliness, like the chibi stuff, whatever, like that kept coming up in this, which of course makes sense because they go back in time, and I guess like maybe it's a little easier to be cheerier when you aren't aware that you're being murdered, or whatever, right? So there is some logic to the way that the characters act, but I just thought, yeah, the tone shift to go from where season 2 ended to then back to essentially where season 1 started, it was a little goofy at times. It wasn't like offensively bad though either, I don't think. It was just noticeable. I would obviously recommend this as well though if you've enjoyed Link Click. I think all of us talking about how it was disappointing or wasn't the same as season 2 or whatever all feel still that this is a good show and that we had a good time with it and that we can't wait for the next season to come. So I'm in that same boat though, where I was not too satisfied when I finished it. I felt more confused throughout as well during this season than I did either of the previous two, which I do remember specifically having to like, I think I finished the second season and I saw you guys all hanging out in voice chat and I was like, Miles, come here. And I had to talk to you for like 10 minutes about it before we did our watch club to make sure I got it all. I felt more confused than that but not in a way where I felt like it would have affected my enjoyment of the show, I guess, or like my tone for this episode, if that makes sense. So I would still recommend this though. So I think we've been dancing around the spoilers and everything long enough. Let's get right into it. And so spoilers for Link Click season 2.5 or whatever you would want to call this for this going forward. And yeah, let's do it. Does anyone have a first talking point that they want to bring?
I want to sort of set, because I think some of us are a little confused about exactly what is happening here.
I am also confused, so please.
Okay, so my understanding of this is that Lu Guang has gone back in time to try to save his Xiaoshi Sheng. I don't know how to say his name. Xiaoshi from dying at some point, be that at the end of 2 or not. I don't think he died at the end of 2. I don't understand completely, because he has flashbacks of Vayne killing him.
Yep.
And we haven't seen Vayne yet, I am confident of.
Correct.
Vayne is new.
Yes.
Okay. So they flash back to a point in time where only Lu Guang knows that superpowered people exist, and he has his power where he can use photographs to like look around or whatever.
The Nickelback power.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. He is the Chad Kroger of this anime. And so we have some sort of as we talked about, every time I look at me, makes me laugh.
The dummy goes, "Hey, Xiaoshi, look at this photograph," and then they clap. It's great.
And what the hell is on Joey's head?
What the hell is on Xiaoshi's head?
Yeah.
No, it's on Lu Guang's head because he has the fucking
cat
ears
hat.
on it.
Yeah, true.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
I missed the
My favorite
joke.
part of the season.
it's okay. We'll make a hilarious Nickelback fucking Link Click crossover at some point. So we have some like episodic sort of things. They help someone with like a picture. They help some investigation stuff. I actually don't even remember what the second investigation was on episode 1.
That was the Vivian.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then they help with someone who's getting like scammed or whatever. Yeah, so those were separate enough where it felt like 2 different episodes.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure why that was one episode, but whatever. And then Xiaoshi gets some hints about his parentage and wants to go to Brighton, which is just London, and I will probably call it London going forward. And there's some like tossing and turning about whether they should do that or not, but they do. Well, Lu Guang and Xiaoshi do. They meet some people there who are all relatively ominous, and there's like a fire. I don't know exactly how this stuff ties in to everything. But they're basically trying to figure out where his parents are, from my understanding. And in the meantime, he discovers that he has superpowers too and can go into photographs. So they make a cool tag team, as we have seen in the past. But during all of this, Lu Guang has the consciousness of everyone who's been through season 1 and 2 and everything in between. But no one else does. Is that correct? Just Lu Guang?
I don't think so. I think there's one other person, because Jay pointed it out with Zhao, with his high score on his Tetris, was from the future.
Oh, yeah, okay. So he maybe, I kind of meant out of our protagonist, but yes, that...
Yeah, sorry, yeah. From our protagonist, but I do think
you're,
that there's
you're
like...
correct to point that out. That's... Yes, because he's been around, I think.
Yeah, he was in the end of like season 1.
He was the friend of the. He's the friend of the twin guy,
yes.
the twin brother. He's the guy's friend.
There's a lot. This is confusing too.
And that's
yeah. I thought when I started the movie or the first episode, whatever, I was just like, how much of the shit did I forget? And because I knew going in, and I was like, I don't even remember really where season 2 ended. But then you said that I'd get a flashback, or and it does like kind of just go right back to where season 2 ended, and then it all came back to me eventually. But it was like I was still kind of confused on like, oh wait, so he did go back in time, but how far back did he go? And I guess they show dates and stuff on screens that make it make sense, and times and whatever. But like, man, that's really hard to translate, or rely on translations for too. So I don't know. I was kind of just like, I'll eventually figure it out, or talking to you guys would help me figure out exactly what happened. Cause like, I get that he's trying to, it is weird though too, to like be like, oh, we're going to go back in time and then go back further than where the show started. I think is a little weird, cause it muddies the timeline a lot, cause like now how are we going to know if he did anything different in this stuff, in this like prequel stuff, or no, just prequel stuff, whatever. How are we going to know if that had any effect on the main storyline, unless we then run through the main storyline again too, right? Like in theory, I guess we can know that he like kills the other guy that comes and kills them.
And is it even a prequel if multiple people's consciousness have, there's just questions.
Also, Vane doesn't die.
Right. They show him at the end, like being alive somehow.
The Undertaker means it.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
So
yeah.
The reason
Crunk
why
isn't dead video or whatever, where they're like.
The reason why Vane didn't die is because Chris's ability is that she can fake people's death by giving them a heart attack. So it makes you seem like you're dead and then you come back to life. That's why they show her doing like the grabbing his heart motion. That's what she was doing. And she has to, I guess she has to know their real names in order to do that.
Okay, she's
which is why she shouted, people literally called her a Death Note user on the Chinese net, I believe. And her student ID has a cipher in it that translates to fake death user. So there's a lot of really hidden stuff in there. Like the poster for this arc has the cast kind of divided along two sides, and you can split it in half, and the characters on the left half are characters that are aware the timeline is changing, and characters on the right side are people who are unaware of it.
Oh,
like they hide so much shit in like the art and music in this. Like Ching Xiaoshi dying was hinted at so heavily in the OPs and EDs from the first and second season. Like Lu Guang doing all of this was basically the entire theme of the second season's OP. So I don't know. This is a show where if you like get in a fucking, what's it called, Pepe Sylvia string board going, and like pinning strings to each other, you can eat off of this.
You go into a photo dark room and start drawing all the connections or something. Whoa.
Exactly.
Who
Well,
would
that's
do
literally
that?
what they do. Yeah, the link click people would. Oh! Holy shit. No, but I do agree, Jay, that makes sense that there probably is a lot of that stuff. I unfortunately usually don't do that because I don't watch seasonally, so like I'm not a weekly watcher. If I was, I bet I would enjoy it. I do wonder how much easier it would be to digest if it was weekly consumption too.
Oh, I bet way easier.
Probably way easier, especially because you can just talk to people more often about it. Like,
Being in the
I would talk
discussions helps for sure. Sorry to
because
interrupt you.
no, you're right. Well, yeah, you're basically gonna say what I said. Yeah, yeah. If I talked to someone about an episode and I was confused about something, I'd be able to ask them and then not let that confusion seep into the start of the next or whatever future episodes as well. I don't know. It is cool though. It is fun to like see the strings after the fact. I'm not so into having to put it together myself in the moment. But I don't know. Miles, you had something sound like you wanted to say.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to talk to one. I want to hear what Kat's thoughts were because he hasn't got to speak yet. But two, I want to know if people with stuff like this, I always have a hard time discerning like how intentional I think my confusion is. Right? It's supposed to be obfuscated to some amount, but then like also are there like narrative and writing issues that obfuscate it more than it should be? And I think yes in this case, but I guess I just want to hear people's opinions on that because I'm not Sherlock Holmes. I'm not always going to figure everything out. So
For me, I'm I'm very confused by most of what's going on. Like a lot of the rest of you, but I haven't really had the time to unpack it because like it's that time in the middle where you're just trying to figure out what questions to ask to try and figure out. And I'm really glad that you guys have figured it out, but I would not have figured that out on my own. But like looking at Vane and looking at Luke Wong, especially in the last episode, it was really fun to see the parallels between the two. And I also I'm thinking about because the first season with how Xiaoshi's powers works, did Luke Wong already know this is the question. Did Luke Wong already know that that Xiaoshi had the power that he had beforehand? Because that might have not been the first go around. This is a theory that I'm thinking about. Because he seemed to have a lot of prowess, and he seemed to be a lot more serious than the others about his power. So that was a question that I had, but I really don't. I'm still kind of foggy on some stuff.
Well, basically, since Luke Wong has been staying over 12 hours every time, he has to live out the 2 years that between this arc and the end of season 2 every single time. So based on his notebook, he's done this for over 20 years at this point. Which is why he says he at the in episode 1 he literally tells somebody I'm not a teenager, even though he very clearly is. So
Gotcha.
probably also why he's so fucking grumpy in this season, even for Luke Wong standards, because he's a crabby ass old man at this point from doing this shit.
He's a 50-year-old. He feels like he needs to own a Corvette instead of staying in an apartment.
Yeah. Doesn't also help that Best Girl is heavily implied to also be dead now. Chowling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from that scene where he wakes up at the
and sees her bleeding out or whatever. Yeah.
Or also there's the scene where Xiaoxing just says we're all dead. You're the only one left. So
yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
If she dies, this show's a 0, straight up.
They're not gonna stay dead, Pete.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a no man left behind situation. They're gonna keep going until it'll truly be their Beijing Avengers.
Yeah, they'll Steingates it.
I was saying, it's this is Homura.
Yeah.
Luke Wong is just Homura, right?
No, this is literally Chinese male Madoka.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it legitimately is.
I feel like the BL levels got raised a little bit higher this season.
What,
Dude, the photo
100%.
shoot scene, when he's like holding him up and they fall down and laughing, like I was watching it with a friend who had never seen the show on Sunday. Like last night, they were like, "Can I come over?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, but you got to watch this Chinese anime I have to record about tomorrow." And they're like, "Sure." And so we were watching. And I basically did a vague TLDR, and then like they did that, and I was like, "They're straight, by the way."
Yeah, it's all like 6 of the really hot guys that are in this. And they even say bye to what's her name. They're like actually only dudes this season.
Dude, whatever. At the end of that photo shoot, I was like, and then Vane's gonna come up and go, and now we're all gonna have group sex.
Ooh, so tasty.
Yeah, you look tasty. The
Why
voice
are
acting
people
for that
always-
was wonderful.
Why are people always creeped out with me when I say I want to eat them? I don't get it. Okay, dude. Like, you fucking vampire ass.
Yeah, he's definitely a vampire goth. Like,
Yeah, like
100%.
100%.
Oh, his name
I
is
mean,
Vane.
Yeah, his name is
I'm like,
Vane.
come on.
And he looks the way he does, and he's always saying he wants to eat people.
He
Dude, to
definitely
be
dresses
fair-
as Helsing.
to be fair, there's literally somebody with a superpower where they can fucking give you a heart attack if they know your name, like Death Note. So I would also be making up some bullshit ass name that's not close to my name at all for people to call me.
Can you okay, so I remember when Chris does that, but to me, I thought Lu Guang took over her body and
Lu
then
Guang
that.
did it, but it's her
Okay.
power.
So okay, I guess this begs the question of how he is aware of that, but if he's done this a billion times, maybe he's done like literally this before.
He's got it down. We see that he has it down to the minute in episode 1.
True.
Like he literally knows. Like he's Groundhog Day this shit for real. For real.
Do we know when they die?
Like
Like
at
at
the end of season, it's past the end of season 2.
That's what it's okay. So does something happen in season 2 that makes him realize, okay, this is like a failed timeline at this point? Because
No, we're just not on the original one. Like I think that, like from the beginning, I think we've been seeing him repeating. Like he's already repeated all this.
yeah,
shit
that's what I'm
before.
saying. But so like, okay, why did we do this order after season 2? You know what I mean? Because like,
Do you want a Watsonian answer or a Doylist answer for that?
I mean, I'm going to be a Doylist kind of guy.
Okay, the Doylist answer for that is just because they probably didn't plan that far ahead.
Okay,
mostly. And I would also say it's because like it's to establish a baseline of how things usually go. Like the usual thing is it's just a bad ending. We're not seeing like it's not a huge outlier from what it seems. Like we don't see any truly extraneous shit happening in season 2, I would say. Like
Yeah.
we don't but we also don't really like I don't know, because I feel like maybe if we go back and watch it, and I'm sorry I'm yapping so much, guys. I want somebody else to talk after I'm done.
You
here,
seem to have
but-
a great understanding of it. I think we're all thankful.
Yeah, go spit.
Yeah. Do you think that if we watched it again, it would be more obvious that Lu Guang knows? Like, do you think it would be obvious that from a Doylist perspective, like our outside perspective, do you think it would be obvious that the directors, writers, etc., planned for it to be like this? Do you guys think, or do you think it would seem more like they didn't plan?
100%. Like,
I don't know if I agree. Go, Kat, though, but I would like to do a counterpoint here.
yeah, like, so I do think that it would be easier to spot, especially with the way that Lu Guang is so stringent upon the rules, especially in the first season, and like continuing to try and hark on Xiaoshi about what rules to follow and how not to mess up the time stream. He also tends to speak about the time stream not as if like it's rules that have been passed down, but rules that he knows and he can't explain why. That's how I always saw it in the during the show, but that's just a me thing.
Yeah, I guess my counter to that would be I just watched season 2, and it didn't become apparent to me that something like this might be happening until like the end of season 2. Not necessarily when he says he's going back, but when we sort of get different flashes of the same event happening maybe at a different time with like Xiaoshi's death and everything. At that point in time, maybe during one of these loops or something. But that was all pretty towards the end because he dies at the end of season 2, but then he's actually not dead. Right?
Well,
I think. Sorry, I had
go
an
ahead.
epiphany. I think that when Vane kills them, he says this is for like I think he says messing with the past. So I think it's like off screen, and this is a shitty thing, I guess. Off screen, they prevent their deaths at the end of S2, and then Vane is like, "All right, well, you prevented that. Well, guess what, motherfucker? It's still got to happen. So I'm here to like trim the loose ends." So I think it's just like the death that we saw at the end of season 2 avoided, but
So Final
this is like
Destination via
basically, I think it's like the timeline. Like it seems like the timeline has a way of like self-correcting, like a white blood cell or something like that, and it will use people with. Because I assume Vane has some kind of power. Like, come on, right?
Oh,
He's
for
got to
sure.
have. He's got the way he was fighting and shit. He's got to have something going on. So if Vane is a power user, I assume that the timeline, either some entity in the timeline or GFA or something, is using power users to like keep certain timelines as like the true one, more or less.
Yes.
So like
So-
Loki.
Yes, basically. Sorry to interject there, but like what you guys said just made me have like a fucking brain blast. That's all.
I have a theory about this. Has anybody seen the movie Jumper?
Yes.
The Hayden Christensen movie.
No.
Yes.
Okay,
That's, is that the one where he has to kill with Bruce
Looper.
Willis?
You're thinking
No,
of
that's
Looper.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
of Looper. I
Jumper
know
is
the
where
one
like he
you're
can
talking
like
about, though.
teleport to anywhere he's ever been type of thing, and like there's like a controlling group that is like aware of these people called jumpers, and they think they're like divine messengers from God. God doesn't want this, so then they try to kill all the jumpers. In episode 6 of the show, when Zhao is in the movie theater, he says, I feel like the mastermind behind the scenes hasn't shown up yet. And so like I kind of think that there is somebody who is like watching all of this and is trying to keep order, kind of like what Jay was saying. And like Vane is a part of like this order group where like Lu Guang is trying to change it. The order doesn't want this to happen. They want the timelines to be like as is, like as if nobody has power. So I feel like that's kind of the trajectory it's going, where like there's this like behind the scenes anonymous Illuminati type of group that's trying to keep order within like the timelines.
Yeah, I think that's super possible. I like how we're working this out in like real time. But yeah, I think that something like that would make more sense to me, I guess, if that's what's happening here. Because currently I don't know why he went back other than the other guy died off screen, you know what I mean? And like I just keep getting the feeling that something happened off screen that we're not privy to yet, and I hate it. I hate that feeling. I don't know if anyone else has that, but that's sort of how I feel. Like I feel like I'm missing a chunk that I don't feel like I should be missing.
That's kind of what I said, where it's like, I feel like that this could be way better if we got more context later that could tie this back into it. But with the loose strings right now, it feels a little out of place.
For what it's worth, the director also confirmed that Lu Guang wasn't the one who directly killed Vane. So he delayed Vane for a second, and that caused a butterfly effect, which allowed Chris to wake up and do it, basically.
Okay.
They even have a butterfly land on his shoulder to
That's
kind
true.
of
Yep.
accentuate it.
Well, doesn't he go in to Chris while Chris is under the mom, or does the mom leave.
No, he
right
did. He
before
didn't
that
take. He didn't
happens.
take over her. He did not take over her.
Oh,
It
Yeah.
might have been a way of a way of the show saying that her powers are activating type of
why?
thing.
And why did she say his name in that moment again?
Because that shit. I think she just has, like, she probably just has to say that to activate it. I imagine. I don't know.
The
But
blue
like,
eyes and stuff, and he made the motion too. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's why I would have thought that he did it because he does the hand thing with her, and then her eyes become like blue. Right? I'm correct on that.
It might be a different
Yeah.
ability he has, but he didn't directly kill her. Kill
Okay.
him is what I should say.
Yep. Okay, that's fair. You know, but I guess this is sort of the thing. How did you know that Chris had the heart stopping ability? Like via the internet, or did I miss that information?
I'm also wondering that too because I was very
To
confused.
be honest, at first, so my confirmation was from the internet, but I guessed it was her just through process of elimination.
Okay.
I don't know.
'Cause-
I just
yeah.
kind of assumed.
So I assumed Lu Guang did it. I don't know if anyone else assumed that, but
I
that
did-
was
I
my
did
Yeah.
assumption.
But how would he
He-
have known about her having that ability? Sorry.
I thought he had that ability.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, yeah, like I thought
Fair enough.
I thought we were just learning a whole lot about Lu Guang at the end there, you
He've
know?
had so many abilities. He just got the photo diving one.
Yeah, but I guess my thought was like, okay, so we are thinking he's been doing this for a while, you know, he's planning things, and in this time, surely he's able to, you know, learn more, get new abilities, be a secret expert at that. So that's what I thought we were seeing, was the fact that, like, okay, because he's been in this like loop for so long or whatever, he's just like here to kick some ass, you know, even more so than we've seen him before. You know, like he has some tricks up his sleeve or whatever. But I can also see it being Chris. I guess was confused by that.
I thought maybe it was Zhao Lu, the random theater goer too, but he's in cahoots with Vane, so I didn't, you know, like, uh, yeah, I felt unsatisfied and not in like, oh, I just didn't get it way. Like I felt like I don't know, I'm frustrated. It felt very similar to like God, what was that show? With with the gemstones.
The Righteous Gemstones. Land of the
yeah.
Lustrous.
Yeah.
Land of the Lustrous.
Land of
yeah.
the Lustrous. Thank you. Yeah, that one. I was just thought, you know, where, and in this case, I can't go read the manga because it's an original. So I'm just frustrated where I'm like, all right, well, this season didn't like, what did this season give us in terms of like growth or adjustment, or other than a few new pretty characters and set up for the next season, you know, like there really isn't much. I don't think it gave us, right? Like,
I think it gave us a bit. Like it obviously, and I'll just say a small piece and let somebody else talk because I've been hogging the spotlight a bit. But it obviously set up a bunch of power characters for the next season, like which you did mention. But I think that showing us like a bit of Qing Xiaoshi's family dynamic really helps us inform who he is as a character a lot. And like we also got to know more about who Lu Guang is as a character through his actions and what he's been doing, as well as like the lengths he was willing to go to, like the humanity that he seems to be willing to sacrifice to prevent certain things from happening. So I think it was a lot of character building, basically, as well as like some major plot stuff. But I can understand why people might not be satisfied with it.
I think I'm in the middle of both of you because I do think that there's a lot of great things that this season added that I think going forward is going to be great. I think Miles maybe be the only one that gets this, but in the Golden Age arc in Berserk is like one of the most popular like manga arcs of all time. But like you see so much of that get referenced in later chapters of Berserk, where it's like at the time you don't think it's as prominent as it should have been. and then you realize, oh my god, like they were setting up all of this stuff. It kind of feels that way for me, where like there's a lot of things in here that I think is going to be called back, where it's like, oh damn, like that's really like a great like piece of writing, because like so far to me at least, I don't think Link Click has like missed. Like, so like I trust the writing and like what they're doing with it. So I'm gonna give it time to cook. But I also in the sense of like things like the, you know, like the girl meeting the comic book. Like I do think if you wanted to digest that, you could, but I also think you could probably cut that from the show and it would have been the same. So like I'm like sort of in the middle where like I think there's a lot of great moments that added a lot to it, but also some moments that are like, I guess if you wanted to like dive into it, you could, but I also feel like it wasn't as important as some of the other stuff, because like, at least to me, I thought the first episode was like super underwhelming, and I thought episode 6 was like fucking insane. So like, I think there's like this contrast between like what we saw in the beginning and how it was delivered towards the end. So I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt for Link Click, and I'm gonna let it cook, and I hope that we get some callbacks in later content.
Yeah. I guess I'm just sort of like the opposite end of you for there, where I feel like at the end of every season, we get like okay, like once more of this comes out, it'll make this make more sense.
Think of it as a visual novel, right? Like once you get to like book 8 of the visual novel, you're like, oh yeah, book 2 was actually sick. It wasn't 40 hours of boring nothingness. Like that's kind of like how I feel. It's like we're on Human Echo Link Click.
Yeah, I like that the entire way through.
That was a good try though. I respect the argument that you tried to make there, Pete. It was a very good effort. Oh my god, are you okay? Miles? Like,
well, it's just like, you know, like when Preston and Trent were doing like Higurashi, and they're like, we're slugging through Hig, and then like book 6, they're like, actually Hig is the GOAT. It's just like it like clicked after like book 6. So it's like I feel like Link Click is like cooking up something where it's just like, holy fuck, let's go. That's at least like fingers crossed. I'm a glass half full guy. Like I'm hoping for the best.
No, I agree. I could see it happening, and I can't explain why, but for whatever reason, I'm a little less hopeful with it comparatively to other media that's like more of a slow burn, and then it like, you know, gets going like it, and I can't exactly explain why.
Well, like Steins Gate, right? Like it hit a point where like it was slow, and then like after episode 12, it was like full gas, like nonstop. Like,
yes,
Link Click is kind of like, it's not that. Like it seems like it's backing and forth with like if it's.
Yeah, I think that might be it, because like in Steins Gate, it's like the pot is slowly boiling, and like I understand people getting bored in the first couple episodes, but like as time goes on, you're seeing more and more things in the background. There are more and more hints that everything is going to go to shit, and then it goes to shit, and then it just keeps going. And then Steins Gate, it like takes little breaks in between the all gas no brakes part. It's like also actually some breaks, and then to me it doesn't feel yet. I haven't had a moment where I'm like, this has been what's happening since the beginning.
Sure.
And that's what I really like in this type of time travel-y media kind of thing. Now, that's way harder to do in something that's like going to be going on forever, like Link Click as opposed to Monica, which is like 11 episodes or something, right? Like where, you know, you can introduce Homura and have her be weird and have her act like she's been here before because she has, and you figure that out over the course of like 7 episodes or whatever. Whereas Link Click sort of, okay, weird comparison. Kaguya Love is War. Okay, that's what we need to
wait.
That's what we need to hope for Link Click to be, right? So like Kaguya starts off, Aka's writing it, and he's doing like skits. They're funny, they're good, they're not going anywhere. At some point, sort of after or like right before the whole summer vacation fireworks thing, he's like, fuck it, let's do a whole ass narrative with this, and starts doing that more, right? It becomes less skit oriented. So like season 2 kind of felt like that, right? Where season 1 was a lot more episodic. Season 2 was like, okay, we have a focus on these twins and these other power users, etc. But then season 3 felt like the combination between those two. So
that's a good point. That's a good point. No, I like that.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. But Jay has an update as he does on this episode.
All right. So I was thinking about it. I mentioned Lu Guang giving his whole speech about the butterfly effect. I think before I get to any of my other points, that proves that he did not puppeteer her to make Chris do that. Because why would he say, I can't stop you, but I can stall you, and then give a speech about the butterfly effect if he would just end up possessing somebody and literally stopping him?
Yeah,
that
that's a
makes
good
no
question.
sense. But
Yeah.
something else to note, that scene with the eyes was animated by another studio, actually, a
Oh,
guest
okay.
studio. So I think that maybe it's just visual metaphor and kind of like misplaced visual metaphor with the eyes a little bit because of that. But I think that it wasn't meant to convey like a power thing. It's like any other like kind of like shonen-esque protag where like they do something cool or aura-y and you see them like stylized glowing. The eyes matching is just to show that he kind of was in sync with her in a way, not actually puppeteering her. But
Okay.
this is a very common thing people think on the internet looking into it. Like it is an extremely common thing that people believe. Like that's why the director had the whole like interview about it where he said, no, that's not what happened. Because even like
Okay.
Chinese netizens thought that was the case. So, yep. Cool.
interesting. I had one more point about the like the pacing, like or I guess an analogy to use, similar to like what you said about like Kaguya-sama going up and down or whatever. Like I think this show so far, it literally will just be like, okay, we start building up to a finale, and then it's like, oh, but surprise, here's another thing. Here's another bad guy. Like, what the first season was what? Oh shit, there's another player in this game, right? Like that was the big reveal. End of season 2, oh shit, we just had someone get killed, and how are we gonna fix that? Season 3 has this big massive cliffhanger, or 2.5, pardon me, has this massive cliffhanger of, oh, there's other people in the operation, there's even more, there's another bad guy. So like it just feels like we're, and we're making tons of progress in terms of our understanding of it, of what's happening to some degree. Maybe not all of us, like me, I'm slow, but like it's very repetitive at this point too, though, where it's like, all right, like when are we gonna actually wrap this story up? Like, and it does feel like we get rug pulled a little bit every single time. Not that I expected the show to be finished by any means at this point, but I just would like to be maybe satisfied at the end of a season in terms of like, because that is a really good point, Miles, where it's like every season so far we have sat there and been like, oh, but next season. I think literally the last 2 watch clubs, that's what we've all said is, oh, and if this all ties it together, it goes from a 9 to a 10. Like that's, and that's got to be, that gets frustrating, and that especially the third time in a row with the same show.
Yeah, I guess to me the endings are like, okay, what's her name? The first girl we follow, right? Like we get the ending where she kills herself. Then like we didn't actually save the day. Then the next one we get a thing where like Lu Guang goes back in time because what's his name is actually dead. And this one is like the guy they killed is actually alive. It's just like I don't know. There's not a lot of moments where I get to feel satisfied. We don't get enough victories. There's a lot of like gut punches in this without any of the things where I think good, our heroes like got the W, we made it, let's go. And I think you
Like
need a mix
Hannibal.
of that, you know? I don't know. Anyone else have a thought on that? On like the tonality there?
No, I think I
Yeah.
agree with like everybody.
Okay.
The tonality, yeah, I definitely agree with you, because like this is the type of show that or that's the type of tonality that I really have a hard time sticking with, because I need to be able to know that there's hope at the end of the tunnel, rather than it just being constant, oh hey, here's something that's going to be here's something that's going to that you're going to really get invested in, and then you're gonna have the candy ripped away from you. Like I this is gonna be like the opposite analogy, but it's kind of like, how in One Piece every arc there's always like they always succeed, they always get through, they always go to the next island, and then when you get to spoilers for One Piece, but I'm sure that doesn't really matter to y'all. After the big naval war between the legal pirates, the New Age pirates, and the Navy, after Ace gets killed, that's a huge gut punch that I wasn't expecting, because at that point, every time at the end of an arc, they've been like, oh, everything's fine, we're going to go away. And then they've got a little hanging thread of something that's going to come back and maybe haunt them later, but it doesn't really do anything. And that's to say, this is the exact opposite, where it's like, once we actually do get a satisfying victory, it will be that much more satisfying. But until then, we're just going to have to suffer through every single gut punch.
Yeah, it reminds me of Hannibal or something. Sorry, that's all.
No, that's okay.
Like the most recent show for him or whatever, with Will and
Yeah, where you're just like watching Will get like kicked in the dick constantly.
Yeah.
Like all his friends dying and him getting gaslit by his therapist and shit. Like this isn't quite as bleak, but I'm hoping against hope that in the next season we kind of get like some of the drama stuff out of the way in the first 6 episodes, so we can have like a few slice of lifey episodes, or like a few like more street level episodes where they're solving crimes and stuff like that again, and like bonding and shit. I don't know. It would just be nice to have like a return to normality in the next season just for a little while.
I had a question for you guys. I think we dove deep enough into like the actual like logistics of the show. But one thing I love about Link Click is the fit. However, in this season, Xiaoshi wears like a schoolboy uniform with shorts and long socks. I need you guys' thoughts on that fit.
Didn't like it.
Bro, it was terrible. What was that?
It was awful. That guy, like he's a look, first season, second season, great fits, looks awesome.
You mean Lu Guang?
No, Xiaoshi.
No, Xiaoshi.
So in like the PV, Lu Guang is wearing he has sort of like a dress shirt and shorts, but like Lu Guang the entire season where it's like this like school uniform with like the shorts and long socks.
Bro looks like one of the dudes that you see at like small towns that owns a boat and walks over there like with a Bud Light at 9:00 in the morning, walking over the dock. Like he looks like he owns a houseboat, has an actual house, but goes on his houseboat to get away from his wife. I did not like his fit. He looked.
Yep. You're right. I agree.
I hated that fit so much.
You can't win them all. You know what I mean? When you're known for being daring and outgoing and avant-garde, you're going to miss every once in a while.
Dude, yeah, but that's not a miss. That's you going, okay, I'm going to be avant-garde.
Fashion is about taking risks. Something you wouldn't understand, Catrick.
What?
Look, until you show up on this podcast wearing a shirt that's so tight that we can't tell if it's for her or for him, then you're not allowed to say nothing. I need to see, you to
do that next episode. What the fuck are you talking about?
It needs to have a big collar that you can pop up, and then also
really to sew it on.
Okay, do it. Do some high fashion in the next episode, and then you can talk on it. Bet.
Jay says this as he's wearing a high school t-shirt.
It's a middle school t-shirt.
That's worse. I can't talk. I'm wearing a Magic the Gathering t-shirt.
I'm just wearing some sort of athletic shirt.
I didn't change out of my work clothes. Look, leave me alone.
I've got some swag on from an esports event in Los Angeles.
Wow, we're all.
Actually, that's a sick ass hoodie.
It's a sick hoodie. It is.
We all have to wear high fashion to the next episode.
We will unequivocally, every single one of us will look significantly better in the next episode.
I'll wear my drunken jacket purchase from Japan that I got.
Thank you, Pete. Yeah, that'll definitely guarantee the other part, what I just said too.
Where
especially.
the Leafs or thing underneath.
I got it right here,
underneath it.
baby. It's just so hot in my room, I can't wear it when I record.
Oh,
Though I do want to say Lu Guang at the end of the season wears like a turtleneck and like a business coat, and he looks suave as fuck. It's like a 10 out of 10 fit. So shout out to
Yeah.
Lu Guang with his fit at the end. But Xiaoshi took a huge L this season.
you can't win them all. That's what I say.
Also, best fashion choice is the cat hat.
Oh, man,
I
I
fucking-
do like the cat
Well,
hat. I
mean,
forgot about that.
Lu
It was
Xiao
good.
was pretty drippy with his all black getup.
Yeah,
and
he-
the fedora.
Yeah.
He even rocked the fedora. Honestly,
I just think Ling looks so good in like everything she wears too.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
didn't
me
really
too.
get to
Me-
see her too much, unfortunately.
Me too. I like the part where she's in it.
She has like
Where she
4 different
cosplays.
outfits this season. Yeah, her
You
cosplay
got
is
some
fun.
cosplay.
Her cosplay was
That's like
cute.
a real character. I'm pretty sure, like Renshi or whatever. I think that's like a real series.
Real series.
Yeah, I think.
Say the girl that was like that they were helping out with looks like Naraka character. Like both those characters look straight up from Naraka.
Yeah.
If anyone's ever played
Oh,
that game.
It's meant to be. I guess it's meant to be a reference to Mo Daozushi.
Oh,
which makes
okay,
sense.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
yeah,
a ton of sense.
you say that. It's like that makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have any more points, or do we want to wrap it up?
Can I rant on one random thing?
Of course.
Okay, so they're in like Bridon. It's like supposed to be like the capital, and in every scene that they're on the street, there is 0 people
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
There's nobody. This town is a ghost town. I was like,
yeah.
what is happening? And then
There are exactly soccer hooligans and no one else.
but then they do a scene where they're driving and they're in stop and go traffic. It makes no sense. The world building in terms of like Bridon, I thought was like legit terrible. Like I felt,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it felt really weird. I don't know. It felt like they went to Silent Hill or something like that. Like they crossed the line and it's just all right, it's just you and a bunch of ghosts. It's like, all right, and some soccer hooligans from Boston, apparently, or something, or from Edinburgh or fucking Manchester. I don't know.
It reminds me of
Pat's the soccer fan. I just thought Boston for some reason.
Why was it? What? Oh, I was like Boston. Like what? What was
Our
the Boston?
notorious-
I don't know. They're
soccer
like
fandom.
trying to like beat up foreigners or something like that. I'm like, that's a Boston soccer fan, I guess.
Boston would absolutely do that. Yeah.
What are
It's-
you
yeah.
guys talking about?
If you want a group of people that make Bostonian sports look like the least racist people ever, you throw a rock at a European soccer team.
you do, yeah. I was gonna say, if
Yeah.
anything, it's Europeans that are known for having cages or anywhere other than the United States.
Look, if
soccer
I can take a
fans.
shot at Boston, I'm taking a shot, even if it's fake
Look,
and wrong.
I respect it. However,
if there's one thing
They
I
threw
learned from this
bananas on the
presidency,
pitch. Like
There are literal cages. They literally put fans in cages in South America to prevent them from killing each other in
my
the
God.
stands or killing the referees on the field and parading around their body parts after decapitating them. Like it's not a like in the US, maybe someone says something mean. Okay. But we don't kill people. Well,
yet.
yet.
there were those
we're not that
Dolphins
big fans yet. Yeah, the Dolphins fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not about soccer. 100%. We're not killing anyone over soccer. That's
I'm not killing anyone over soccer.
Pat. I think just admitted to killing.
Oh,
someone, guys.
also,
Yeah,
they
100%.
they drove on the wrong side of the road in most of the episodes. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Like
They drove in the American/Chinese way and not the.
So-
Oh wait,
British way.
China's drives on the right side
Yeah,
too. I didn't know
basically
that.
everywhere does.
Oh,
Yeah, most
It's
places
like
do,
three,
except for
it's like 3 countries or some shit.
Not
it's
Japan.
non-major Commonwealth and Japan. Like, you know, like it's like the UK and I think parts of Scandinavia and Japan. It's
okay.
weird.
That's what. Well, okay. So I've only been to. Well, they drove on the wrong side of Germany, didn't they? Did they not?
I think Germany. Well, Bavaria too. Pardon me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've just happened to like everywhere I've been outside of the country, they drive on
That's
the other side.
funny. That's funny.
That is pretty funny. Yeah, objectively, that is pretty
Yeah.
funny.
I'm going to England later this summer, so like, cool. I'm going to keep it up. I only want to go to places where they drive on the wrong side of the road.
Wait, did they drive? Oh, in Copenhagen, they drove on the normal side of the road too. I didn't even occur to me like when I was over there. That's so interesting. Oh, cool. Yeah, it is weird that it's just not like consistent though. Like the Celsius versus Fahrenheit thing is, where we're all right and everywhere else in the world is so wrong. It's too bad.
Aren't we all wrong because we don't use Kelvin?
No,
That's
Kelvin's
very.
dumb.
You know what? He's right. He's
No,
right. Except he's not right. It
Kelvin's
sounds like my
fucking dumb.
dad's name though, so I like it. So
Like,
do you ever think about that?
look,
Like,
Count with a C or a K?
Kelvin is
K.
a K.
No, his dad.
my dad is Kevin. So
Oh,
It'd
okay.
be funny if it was Kevin with a C. That would
yeah, that would be pretty funny.
great.
I have to use Celsius because it's thermoplastics. So
Kevin with a C makes me want to jump.
7. It's 7.
That's my new gamer tag.
7. I
Oh my
like that.
gosh, that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. As someone who uses centigrade more than I use Fahrenheit, probably Fahrenheit is nice for describing the range of human experiences.
Thank you. Exactly. Like if we're doing science, use Celsius. But if we're talking about how does it feel outside,
0 cold, 100 hot. It's nice.
it's really nice. Yeah. Thank you. I don't need to know the boiling point of water outside, like
Yo,
whatever.
Cosette and Zig just shut this episode off. They're like,
Yeah,
man,
well,
stupid Americans.
Dude,
This is the one thing we're right on.
I'm
Lucas is
39
laughing
degrees.
at
I have a
us.
fever.
yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
39 versus 40 is like a death sentence. So what if that a thermometer being off by 1 degree is like a death sentence over there versus 1 degree here in the US, I'm 98.7 instead of 99.8 or whatever I'm supposed to be, or maybe that's the other way around. Like that's not like 105-degree fever where you're actually going to be dead, like I don't know.
Don't tell anyone from Canada or anything that doesn't matter for precision. However, I make that argument all the time to people that I think will fall for it.
Genius.
because it's measuring heat, right? So a degree is different between the two.
No, of course. Yeah.
And so like
Like
if
the
you have
scale
an
of it is
instrument
different.
that is like, so it's like saying like, oh, it's off by a degree in like centigrade is like saying it's off by 3 in Fahrenheit. Like that's the same precision or whatever. And so like then it does become the same thing. Like it because they are the same thing.
Right, but in the spoken word it doesn't, where if I say, "Oh, my thermometer is 1 degree
Oh
off."
yes, yeah, no,
and
it's
it
easier
doesn't,
to
that's-
exaggerate and like what are they going to say? Like, oh, it's 100 fucking degrees, right? And like what do you say? Oh, it's 40 degrees.
If you had
Oh, it's 40.
Fahrenheit and Celsius talk on your bingo card for link click, congratulations, you just won.
It's the one thing we're right on, okay? Because like meters and everything else makes so much more sense. Whatever, power
Right on
or
red.
kilograms, right on red. Oh, we do that right too. Yeah, you're right. But like but like in measurements, like this is
I
the
gotta
one
say
thing that we're right on.
The inch and the foot are like very useful, whereas centimeters, the next unit that they use commonly is meters.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
And
find
they-
that like this is just to like I'm not erasing decimeters, okay? They are.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's like when I was in elementary school, I literally thought that we were gonna be they use decimeters, and then when I didn't see a DM because there's decimeters and decimeters, and or is that decigrade? I don't remember.
Oh, there's
but like,
I don't know. Who cares?
deca and deca. That's what it was.
They don't use them is the point. They go from literally like the tiniest measure, like a centimeter that's this big, to something that's literally like almost half of my length as a or more than half my length as a over 6 foot tall person, like it's very dumb. It is really dumb. Europeans are dumb.
Let's do final
Yeah.
thoughts.
They
No,
use
let's
stone
be
in
bragging
England
on them.
still.
Final thoughts. Europeans are dumb.
Yeah, that is my final thought. maybe no, I won't make that joke.
Well, like 2% of our listening audience is from Europe. We love you, Europe.
No, we actually do like you guys. Thank you for existing. Sorry about our orange man.
I do
Orange
understand
Man
why we don't
bad.
use decameters.
Orange man, very bad. I'm
Yes.
sorry he exists.
People often say that ironically to like be like, oh, that's all, but like, no, Orange Man bad.
Orange Man actually
Man.
bad.
Yeah, it's Oh,
Europeans
goodness. Okay.
indirectly gave us Other
It's-
Man though.
It's
So
well,
I don't know.
well,
Do we like them or no?
there's a whole thing to talk about. There's a contestant on the Traitors right now. He's a British lord, and he's sort of responsible for Trump. So, because he was like the Cambridge Analytica guy.
Oh God.
He's not only responsible for him, but again, like Europe is kind of responsible for Elon.
So
aren't they
final
not?
thoughts, and he's from South
Okay,
Africa.
So it's not our fault. Well, yeah, he's from South
Yeah,
Africa.
Yeah, but it was
where,
a
sorry,
colonization.
Can we go to
I see-
thoughts?
I see what you're
We're
saying.
political?
he's a white South African. Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, well, we're not getting political. This isn't political at all. Wink, wink. Yeah, all right. This episode brought to you by Turning Point USA.
Yo, time out. I'll take a lot of money from a lot of people, but that ain't one of them.
That's the joke. Well, that's the joke, is that we just said the most liberal shit and then sponsored by them. Whatever. Anyways,
What
all right,
do you
final
say,
thoughts.
anime, a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin?
Yeah. Miles, what are your
This was from
final
Prager
thoughts?
U.
And yeah, just Chris Prager joins our podcast. Can you imagine him on this podcast?
I can.
I can't either, actually. Fireside chats with Pete and Chris.
He would fucking nominate Rokubo.
Yeah, he would.
100%. No, he would nominate Bakuan.
And yeah, that too.
So
So
what were we talking about, Miles? Do the final thoughts for it, please.
Link, we're doing the final thoughts of Link Click. Okay, so it sounds like, though our scores may range here, we're all sort of on a similar page. This was sort of like an in-between season. It's setting some stuff up. It didn't really resolve itself. Me personally, I'm getting a little worried just about the overall overarching narrative of something like Link Click. I think something like Link Click serves itself more to a completely encapsulated beginning to end narrative, as opposed to like individual arcs that aren't planned out beforehand the way that other shows are able to do that. This is, again, a score that could fluctuate based on future information. But for right now, I think I'm going to give this a 7. Just because I sort of left this feeling like a bit like I had a good time, but it is a noticeable drop off from the first 2 seasons, which I gave 8s. And it also has me a little worried for the future. We will have to see if that's founded or not. Pete's half full. I'm half empty on this particular thing. One of us will be right.
Okay. Yeah. Half full, half empty. Okay. I like that. So you're in the same place, essentially. All right. Why am I forgetting your name? Duh, I'm not. It's Kat. Kat, what about you?
Yeah. So, man, I really liked the last episode. I really enjoyed the last episode. The last episode was honestly the last episode. I'd say to an extent the 5th episode were kind of keeping this season up with the quality of it, with the suspense and the adrenaline that was coming from it. The first episode did not need to be an hour. Did not need to be an hour long at all. It like, sure, it's trying to set some stuff up, but like we had 2 fairly inconsequential like investigations that weren't really establishing much that could have been established by one investigation, especially the first one, which was just kind of like there and just kind of came out of nowhere. But like weighing the weight of the investment in the 5th and 6th episode versus the confusion and kind of like the slog of the first episode, I'm honestly probably gonna have to go with 7 on this.
7. Alrighty. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, so I think that my major hang up with this was just like I said at the beginning, the kind of structuring of it with the 6 episodes, kind of how the plot moved forward because of that was a bit iffy at times. I agree a bit with what was mentioned about the first episode, like it feeling like they weren't really relevant, but I also kind of wanted more out of of that kind of normalcy that we had in season 1. back once again before things were like a grand conspiracy. So for me, like, it was nice to get that, even if it was kind of a facade, in my opinion. So I enjoyed that personally. The music in this was fantastic. The OP and ED, both bangers. I think that the OP is probably the weakest OP out of all three of them, but I think that the ED is the strongest one they've done personally. And they're all very good. So that's a huge plus for me. I never skip that shit. Animation, beautiful as always. It looked a little different this time, though. I think that maybe it was like
It was a different
maybe
studio.
it was a different studio in general, so it wasn't just the last scene or the last scene in that episode. Got it. So that would explain a lot. So, but they did a pretty good job. The only thing that I think because of that, we didn't get too many fight scenes, and I don't like that, because the fight scenes in Link Click, while I'm not watching Link Click for the fight scenes are always A1, like fight of the year material, even if it's just like two people fighting versus some like drunken street brawler. Like, they're incredible. So we got a taste of that at the end in the final episode, and like a little, I guess, like animation reel sort of thing, like something somebody would send in their portfolio later on, like just like a 5-second clip. Like, that was cool and all, but I just wanted more out of it. I'm excited that the next season's going to be like twice as long, so I think that this follows kind of season 2 for me, where I like personally probably rate it a bit higher, but I want to see how it fits into the grand narrative of things. Like, I think that Link Click is a story that will take, like Peta said, I think it's something that will take its true form whenever we can see the whole picture and go back and re-examine things with context in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a 9. I think it has high potential.
9. Okay. All right. I was wondering if I was going to end up being the highest person on this.
Oh, you're never the highest person when I'm around, Pat. Don't worry.
That's a good one. That was a good one.
Thank you.
That
Thank
was
you.
a very good one. Pete, what have you got?
I'm kind of in the middle with Kat and Jay. I thought this season was kind of pretty lackluster, but episodes 5 and 6 I thought were absolutely fantastic. I think they set up for the next part so well. I still think that this has the potential to be something fantastic and great and legendary if it sticks the landing. I just think right now we have some loose ends, and I'm looking forward to hoping those loose ends get wrapped up. I still think this series overall could be a 10 when it's all said and done, but for this specific one, I'm gonna give it a 7.
7. Okay, thank you. Alrighty. And yeah, for me, yeah, I'm surprised so many 7s, but I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I the way I looked at it when I was looking for scores was it felt like a 7 in vibe wise to me, but then I remembered like it still was really good. Like, even with all of the discourse around it, like the banter between the characters is great. Their relationships are great. And the potential is there for it to be even better. And just going off the scores I've given some of the other seasons as well, I was kind of like, okay, well, like it fell off from them, but not like significantly, you know? So I ended up giving it an 8 out of 10 with room to improve. In the same way, the first 2 seasons, I think I both gave 9s with the potentials to improve to 10s if things keep getting better. I still had a blast watching this, even if I was confused, which gives it a lot of credit, because there are times like I was not enjoying myself with Steins Gate, or what other time stuff have we done? Madoka, I was not having fun with at certain times. You know, like it does take a while sometimes for all that stuff to cook, and I hope it does cook into something really nice. Ooh, a kitty cat. Nice. On screen. We always love those. So our final score, because I can do math quickly, averages out to a 7.6, which is how far below Mal is that? That's a whole
6 or so.
0.7 even. 0.76, a whole 3/4 of a point
is it really?
below.
Dang.
Well, 8.36 is what it is on Mal. So
Oh, yep. I thought it was 2.6 for some reason in my head, but no.
nope, you idiot.
What a
Unbelievable.
moron.
What a moron. Exactly, right? Like, and he's the scientist? Okay, yeah. Oh, my
Yo,
goodness.
Miles, your elitist takes gotta go, my man.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. at
I
this
love that
point.
comment because, like, I was being a salty little dick in that episode, but not elitist at all.
Nope.
Like it would have been completely legitimate to complain about my behavior, but not for the reason they did.
Yeah.
It was-
Oh, that's so good. Oh, love it. Alrighty. But yeah, I guess that wraps up our watch club on Link Click Bright London Arc. I'm done playing games too. London Arc. So yeah, let's talk about well, we don't know what we're watching next week. Nobody knows except for people in the Discord, and everybody knows. But yeah, that's what we're watching next week. Now let's nominate.
We have to tell the people what we're watching.
No, they already know according to you, Pete. So I guess the surprise is ruined.
Yo, this is somebody's first time listening to our episodes. They need to know.
Okay.
You want me to say it?
Pete, say it.
You could say it.
Just say it. Just say it.
We're
I guess.
watching
Sure.
New Moon, baby, the second edition of our Twilight series. Happy April Fools.
Yay! Yay! Clapping. Look how happy we all look.
Hey,
Yay.
you do not have to show up if you do not want to. The only person that is required to be here is me.
I have a champion coming in my stead.
So we're nominating shows now, right?
Yes, we are.
That we are. We are going to nominate some shows. So, Miles, what have you got for us?
I was met with like a crippling anxiety on deciding something, and so I just decided to pick a show that I want to watch that won't win. In that way, there's no pressure. So I'll be nominating Sugar Apple Fairy Tale.
Ooh. Yo,
for-
fuck Jonas all day.
Yeah,
That's
one
the
day-
really fucked up one, right?
No.
No,
Oh, I'm thinking of Happy Sugar.
Happy
Life.
Sugar.
Yes,
Yeah.
Happy Sugar Life.
I
No,
would
this
have.
is-
I
this
would
is
have
not-
reacted if it was that one.
This is not that.
Yeah,
This is like
nominate Happy Sugar Life.
this is some sort of shoujo or whatever, like a
Yeah, it's
fantasy shoujo.
fun. Yeah.
Cat,
It's,
do not nominate it. Do not nominate Happy Sugar Life. Cat, what are you nominating?
I'm not. What? I came prepared today.
yeah, do it.
Yeah, right.
What do we got?
I did.
we got?
I'm nominating Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Oh yeah,
The
okay.
Ooh.
second season is coming out. Pete, I know this is on your plan to watch, and Miles is the only one that has watched it, and I know that he's watched it a while.
Oh, I
ago.
thought it was
So,
2-core. Sick.
I did
Yeah.
too.
I
I had to
watched
check.
it. I'll figure out what I gave it. It was either 7 or an 8.
It was 7.
Okay, that sounds right.
I love like what if Nazi stories, you know, like they're really cool. So,
She's not a Nazi. She's Russian.
but like it involves them. No, does it
I
not?
think there's vaguely Nazi imagery, I think, but it's like it's Russian. Like she's more of a
Oh.
Stalin than a Hitler.
I'll say
Fair
all the
enough.
names are very German.
Are they? I'm pretty sure.
Von
They
Strugel, whose last name is literally Weiss.
I thought it was like
Von
not
Lergen?
allegory, but
Von
like
Zexor?
very,
Yeah, Kurt von Rudendorff.
No, there is a Victoria Ivanova Serva Benvedilka, so maybe it's both.
Yeah. I think it's probably just
I think it's a mixture. It's
European
probably a
conglomeration.
because her last name is a Russian last name. Is the only thing. Like
Also
it's a
has-
full.
yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite antagonist name of all time, Mary Sue.
Mary Sue.
Sioux. Really
Beautiful.
top tier writing there by whoever wrote Saga Tanya the Evil.
yeah. All right, but no, I am curious about it though. It should be fun.
Awesome.
I'm excited for that. Jay, what have you got?
I am going to nominate Citrus again.
Just really quick, Adelheid von Schugel. That's a pretty German sounding.
Yeah,
but there are a lot of Russian ones too. So I do
Maybe
think
her
it's just,
dad was like a Russian immigrant to a German themed place.
yeah, maybe I don't know.
I just thought the imagery as well was pretty like World War II Nazi looking, you know, and that's why I assumed it. But I could definitely see
she
like,
wears
the
an
Red
Iron
Army.
Cross, so yeah.
Yeah, the Red
Yeah.
Army stuff is definitely there too, though. So maybe it's a whole like, you know,
We'll find out.
what-
Vote for it.
maybe. Yeah, we'll have to find out. Pete, what about you? What have you got?
Yeah, I really like our conversations on like psychological anime, so I'm gonna nominate one that I never finished. I'm gonna nominate ID Invaded.
I was hopeful.
Hopeful for what?
I don't know. Not this.
I don't
show.
know. I don't even know what he was even thinking.
I've heard like exclusively bad things about ID.
No, you're thinking of the AI of whatever.
Okay.
You're thinking
I'll
of the
be
wrong
thinking of-
show. ID Invade has
Okay.
like an 8 on Mal.
7.82, but yes.
Yeah, it's like an 8.
What? Yeah, I that's why I said yes.
It's 8 Kelvin. Come on.
It's 8
Yeah. Uh,
0.08 or whatever. Like,
Yeah, the oh my god, your cat changed colors in the 2 minutes that you put it down. That's so cool. All right, I'm gonna nominate High School of the Dead. You know, let's come on, let's win. Let's win.
Did I tell you
win.
that Has already made the thumbnail for it?
No, you did.
Yeah, he did.
That's so funny.
He
that he already
prematurely
did.
made it.
Because it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So,
eventually.
Eventually.
surely.
yeah, tell Has he's welcome to vote for it to make it happen whenever.
Yeah,
he
that would
feels
be
like.
really cool if he did do that, you know, so that we could finally
I
watch
think
it.
financially it's better for him not to vote for it.
It is, but I wasn't gonna.
Okay.
I'll pay him to vote for it. That's how we'll do
Yeah,
this.
pay him 10
We'll-
bucks.
Yeah, we'll finally break all of the rules of Watch Club Bribery so far.
Citizens United, but for Watch Club.
Yeah.
Russians and Germans are temporary. Titties are inevitable.
Exactly.
There's so much more to that show than that too, and I want to show you guys it. It's so fun. Like it really is. There's so many
it's super
layers.
fun.
Ah, such a fun show.
It's like
All
an
right.
onion.
Yeah, or an ogre, right? I
Yeah.
think we've already done this joke once or twice.
Yeah, maybe.
Who cares?
Yeah.
We're so good at this podcast ending thing. So yeah, let's end this podcast. That's Watch Club. Pete, take it away.
Yes, if you want to support us, the best way to do so, give me a bunch of money, please. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. Next week, we are doing the spring preview. We're already almost done with this current season of anime. It's gone by so fast. So we're going to be checking out a bunch of properties. Next season is going to be insane. I think I'm watching like 30 shows. Not
It
real.
looks.
It looks really for sequels. For sequels, it looks incredible. I can't, at least for me. I don't know about anybody else. I think it's great. But we have like big shows like Lazarus. That's like a huge, like up and coming property. But then we have like sequels like Windbreaker season 2, Aharon, Rent a Girlfriend season 4.
G-
Like we got some bangers coming up. So.
G-Cucks, dude. Mobile Suit Gundam G-Cucks. So good.
G-Cucks is we'll also be talking that, so I'm really looking forward to that. Otherwise, if you're here for Watch Club, we will see you in 2 weeks for New Moon. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.